to infinity and beyond.
Hello everybody, it's Roger and James here from Infinity and Beyond from DisKingdom.com. And in this episode, we're just going to be talking a little bit about what we've been playing this week. But I think a lot is going to be, obviously for me, it's going to be Mario Kart was the last few days, playing a bit of Marvel Heroes on the PlayStation 4. Kind of also a little bit more Zelda, because I kind of finished off the 4 Divine Beasts. But obviously, James, you kind of have joined the club by the looks of it.
I have joined the club. I've got my Switch right here.
Yes.
And the only game I have for it, or sorry, I have 2 games for it. I have Mario Kart, and I also picked up Skylanders because I wanted to try out the whole like not needing the figures.
Oh yeah,
which was great. Yeah, well, which was great until I realized the interface for changing characters is absolutely atrocious. It's like literally the most bare bones they could have possibly done. Yeah. There's no sorting, there's no organization to it at all. Nah. But that's fair. I've been most of my time on that has been Mario Kart anyway.
Well, the thing is, you must be one of the only person on the planet that doesn't have Zelda with their Switch, because the Zelda has sold more copies on the Switch than there are Switches sold. That's how the attach rate is over. There's more people.
I'm doing my part to lower the attach rate. I'll probably get it at some point, but as we've talked about in the past, it's just not my kind of game. I'm not really an open world gamer. In fact, I was playing Horizon Zero Dawn, which is also an open world game, and kind of makes me a bit of a hypocrite for saying so. But I think I'm maybe a quarter of the way through the story, and I just realized I wasn't having any fun anymore because I looked at the map and it's like, well, you've got 350 points of interest that you can do. I'm like, I'm actually not interested in any of these points of interest. Just give me the damn story. And I traded it in. Yeah. I only got 25% of the way through. I had a lot of fun with the game. The core mechanics are great, but I was just like, no, I need a path. I need you.
Well, yeah. See, I'm actually. My wife asked me yesterday, "What game do I want for my birthday?" And I actually am starting to think I might say Horizon Zero Dawn might be my pick for this year's game, because it's like I do really want to play it, but I'm also been worried a little bit about a lot of people saying about how after playing Zelda, it doesn't, the freedom doesn't match up and stuff. So that's where I'm a little bit like not sure, but. As someone that never really enjoyed Zelda games before, I've been really enjoying Breath of the Wild. Like I said, I was over at my in-laws in portable mode, finished off the 4th Divine Beast, and I started heading towards the castle, and I'm going, I really don't actually want to do this yet. I'm not ready to, and I know quite a few people, like I think Disney Dan and even John Vanacci, were all basically just saying they don't want to go to the castle and end it. They don't want to end. You don't want to do the end story because you actually don't want to finish it because you're having so much fun. And it's very rare you get that with a game.
Yeah, I actually don't think I've experienced that ever.
No.
More often than not, I'm just like, keep on. I'm interested in your story. Tell me more about the story. And so, I mean, that's the problem I had with Horizon Zero Dawn here. And just like, all right, I'm going to set this one down and I'm going to go play Kingdom Hearts instead.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, that was my big problem for Kingdom Hearts, really, was that it came out 3 weeks after Zelda. And while Kingdom Hearts, I haven't touched it since week 1 because Zelda just completely kept drawing me. Every time I got back into Kingdom Hearts 2 and trying to Birth by Sleep, I just kept going, I could be playing Zelda. And I rarely have had a game that has kept pulling me back in. And as someone that never really liked Zelda games, when I remember we was talking about the Switch before, and I'm going, I'm like, oh, I know it's a Zelda machine, but I don't really like Zelda games. And it's like, here I am 2 months later, kind of completely just praising how great the game is. And I want to finish the game because I have invested like 70, 80 hours into this game, but I actually want to finish the Zelda game and put a little tick box next to my name and go, I've actually finished one. But as I said, Mario Kart, picked that one up on Friday. You've got that one as well. What's your thoughts on Mario Kart?
I'm enjoying it. I haven't played a Mario Kart game since the N64. This is my first. I didn't have the Wii, didn't have the Wii U. For whatever reason, I never got the 3DS versions, even though I could have. The one thing I wish there were more retro levels in the game. I wish that I could enjoy my old Super NES and N64 levels.
There's a few, I think, in the battle mode, like the balloon ones and
Right.
stuff. They have put them in there. Like you, actually, it was an odd thing. I've had to take out the Zelda cartridge that's been in there since day one. I actually had to pick up and go, how do I get a cartridge out? I don't. It's like I think I've actually never taken a cartridge out of my Switch, and I've had it. I'm like, okay, find it, pull it out, put it into the Mario box, and it was just like, put it in. I'm like, and I then realised I have not brought a Mario Kart game since the Super Nintendo. And that's the last time I do remember buying Super Mario Kart on the Wii from the Virtual Console, the first one. So I actually haven't really. I've only played the SNES version. So for some reason, I don't think I brought the N64 version. I think I might have been playing Gran Turismo because that would have been around that time. I think PlayStation 2, was it? Yeah, it must have been probably around that same time when that came out. And then N64 games were so expensive back then. I mean, I just remember being at university and paying and using my student loan to buy myself an N64 with GoldenEye. And GameCube, I don't remember. I didn't really like that compared to my PlayStation 2. And I hated move controls, and I didn't want to play Mario Kart with move controls and all the steering wheel accessories, and I didn't want to play like that. And so I avoided it like the plague. So that was my biggest problem for the Wii version.
I think, honestly, I didn't play for the Wii either, and I know that they do have motion controls for this one, and I could have gone down to Best Buy to get the little Wii controller. But the idea of having a wheel that I'm just like holding and isn't attached to anything is such a weird idea to me. It doesn't process. But I'd be like, okay, if it came with like a mounting pod and I could put it on my table and then use it so that I had like a base to work off of, maybe. It could be entertaining.
See, I always find whenever I've played with those steering wheels and stuff, like when you're playing them in the arcade, as a driver, it's that weird thing I felt like when I was a kid, you threw caution to the wind and you could do it. The minute you become a driver, you're applying real technique because your brain is telling you that that's how you have to drive. And of course you suck. You're completely just driving off the road. But Mario Kart, I was blown away with the amount of playable characters and playable levels and missions and blah. It's quite overwhelming how much is in there.
Oh yeah, I've only played like a handful of the tournaments so far, and I've only played them in the 50cc mode. I haven't even tried 100, 150. I've done some time trials for some of the classic levels. I have to say I don't remember Rainbow Road having wavy lines from when the thwomps fall down. That's new. Well, it might not be new. It might have been from the Wii U version, but I have no point of comparison. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. There's so many different racers. There's so many different car bodies, and it's all new to me because I am unlocking new car bodies. I didn't even know I could do that.
Well, apparently there was this thing. Obviously, with the Wii version, the Wii U version, you were unlocking characters and tracks as you went along. With this one being the deluxe version, they kind of went along the lines of this is a €2-3 game. We're going to give you everything pretty much at the start, and the primary, I think, to be honest, the big thing about them releasing this game is aimed at us two. This is what they wanted. Is because it was such a good game and it didn't get the attention it wanted on the Wii U. That there's a lot of us joining in with Mario Kart that haven't done it for a long time because of the Switch. And I'm playing this game and I'm there going, this is kind of a game where at any given time you could just be like, I'm going to pop the cart in because you know that this game's going to be around. They're not going to have another one out for years, but this will just not get old. This will just and it is just going to be fun to play, and it's all completely unlocked. You can jump in, jump out. Online play is something I'm not really going to be too much interested in, but the single player stuff, there is so much content. I was blown away. I didn't expect this much.
Yeah, well, it's a good thing you don't want the multiplayer content because it sounds like the multiplayer is having lots of issues right now. But I think the interesting thing about this, of course, is it's a way for Nintendo to release mostly new content on the Switch without actually having to put that much effort into it because it is a re-release of the Wii U and there isn't any new content as far as I know except for like maybe one or two characters. Now, I think they are planning DLC for it.
I think this is literally it, and I think
I think, yeah, I
working
think
on.
we'll have to double check that because I was talking to some of the guys from the Res TV
Yeah,
network, and they've got their Nintendo show, and they were
yeah,
talking about, oh, they'll add it in as DLC, and I was sitting there going like, I really hope they don't, honestly, because I bought this as like the Ultimate Edition, but they were pretty sure that there was DLC. So, to anyone
yeah,
listening,
yeah.
don't take it as gospel. We don't
No,
actually know
no,
if there's DLC or not coming. I hope there isn't,
no.
because I don't like the idea of buying an Ultimate Edition and then having to buy more stuff on
No.
top of it.
I mean, for me, this is like just a fun game, and having. I mean, I was sort of thinking the other day, I thought, well, you know, there has been a lot of kart races I've jumped in. Obviously, Disney Infinity Toy Box Speedway was one. Sonic All Star Racing was a bit of fun. They've had quite a few different kart ones over the years, but it is just a lot of fun playing with the different characters, different bikes, different bits and pieces, and it's just. It definitely feels like a game that is going to be just be in my little Switch bag, and even I could see myself in 2-3 years I'm on a plane or I'm just sat there one day and going, oh yeah, I could just whack it in. I did think this. I did buy it physically because it was a kind of thing of this is going to be take up. I'm worried with my Switch about not having enough space on my SD cards. Obviously, could buy more expensive ones, but it's like, well, if I can have it on a cartridge, it removes the entire need for the idea of that because the whole game is included on it. I don't think there was even a patch. It just you put a cartridge in and it works, and you're playing it in seconds. It's like the good old days.
It really is, and I mean, yeah, you pay the price in terms of like it not being as technically powerful as the Xbox One or the PlayStation 4, but there is something undeniably nice about just putting a cartridge in, not worrying about a day one patch, not worrying about installation or any of that nonsense, turning it on, hitting the A button, and just going into a race right away. And I think that especially for maybe older gamers who haven't been keeping up with the generations, who maybe stopped playing in the N64 era or the GameCube era, the Switch is a nice answer to the current, like, well, your Xbox One is basically a small computer with a UI that makes almost no sense. Your PlayStation 4 is a little computer with a UI that basically makes almost no sense. The Switch, you just tap the game you want, you hit play, and you're good to go.
And it's kind of that weird thing. I almost feel like with Nintendo now that we're the generation that grew up on it, and we're like, I mean, I'm seeing so much on my feed of sort of our generation sort of really bigging up the Switch because in some ways for us they're perfect games to be able to pick up, play, put down, and then in our busy life schedule and all the rest of it where we can't invest the time, we've actually been able to, we can enjoy them a lot. It fits our lifestyles better.
Mm-hmm.
The sleeping and all the rest of it, just leaving it as it goes, and and taking it on the go, it almost fits our lifestyles so much better than the other consoles.
And the ability to literally just put it into the dock and play it on the TV, or take it with you to play on your lunch break or whatever is perfect, and to not have a diminished experience on the miniature version. I mean, I know they downscale the graphics a bit to make it a little easier for it to play, but you're on such a small screen, it doesn't really matter most of the time.
It's like the last 2 nights, sat there on the couch watching television, it's like, grab the Switch, and I'm playing Mario Kart on the handheld mode while I was sat on the couch, and it's like, I couldn't do, I mean, for the Vita, never really, like, you could do the remote play, but it never really seemed to work very well. It didn't seem to be, I don't know, it didn't have that, even though I could do that on that, I never really used it. I didn't really think it was very useful, and it was always a bit laggy. This just feels so quick and easy. And I also think as well that because of the brightness and the color, I mean, Mario Kart definitely is kind of just fun to play. It's a game where I'll be honest, it's like, obviously, we talked about earlier, Injustice 2 comes out. I probably will only be playing Mario Kart for a couple of weeks. And then I don't think it's going to hold my attention the same way Breath of the Wild has, but I feel like it's a game that it's in my catalogue now. I now have a racing game. And that'll be, and the only time I want to fire it up, I can just jump back in and it'll be fun. And I think that's the key of Mario Kart's success. Why people still love jumping in things like Super Mario. That's what Nintendo do very well. And this is going to be, it's not going to be discounted. If you think, if you want it, it ain't going to come down in price over the next few years.
You might be able to get it on sale at like Thanksgiving here in the States, or Christmas or Boxing Day or something like that. But yeah, in general, it's not going to be on sale. It might eventually join Select or whatever they choose to brand Select on the Switch. But yeah, it's not. But I have to agree. You know, just like we were talking about on one of the earlier podcasts this week with the BB-8 game for Star Wars. This is the kind of game where, you know, you probably won't play it consistently unless you really get into the multiplayer mode, but turn on the Switch, do a couple races, turn it off, go off and do other things in between other, it's a perfect pick up and play game.
Yeah. Did you pick up the Pro Controller? Are you still on the, you're on the...
No, I do have the Pro Controller, and it's a much better experience because I played it in, this mode with the Joy-Cons attached to it, and by the end of like the second race in my tournament, I was like, my hands were cramping up and it wasn't a very comfortable experience. So I actually went over to Best Buy and was like, this isn't working for me. I need the Pro Controller. And I'm glad I did. It's hard to justify at $70. It's like, it's a wicked expensive controller, but it's actually probably one of the best controllers on the market across all the systems.
Yeah, it's also got like a 40-50 hour charge life.
Right.
So, I actually have never played the Switch. Well, I've never taken the Joy-Cons on, put into the grip, and had. I brought Pro Controller on day one, and so, I don't have too much of a problem playing it, but I do find I can't seem to reach. I wouldn't be able to reach across so easily and sort of press a button to stop it. But again, this feels like this is like one of those things of people having a Switch where these core Nintendo titles are going to be massively attach rates. They're going to work very, very well. They're going to be. This one's going to be. I think it's the first time Nintendo game has been in the number one slot on the charts for like 7-8 years over here in the UK.
I can believe it.
And literally, this is a game that will just be on. And if you're picking up a Nintendo Switch like you have just done, you're going to pick up probably Zelda and Mario Kart as games to play. And obviously, everyone wants more. Obviously, as we run up to E3, it might get a little bit more interesting of what's going to be coming out. Obviously, we've got ARMS and Splatoon. I'm still not convinced on ARMS yet. I'm kind of hesitant on pulling the trigger on that one. But a lot of multi-platform games, I probably just would jump to Switch now, and I think it is just that experience that you don't get on the PlayStation now.
I think it's really going to depend on the individual game too, because like I'm very interested in Dragon Quest Heroes 2, which is going to come which is on the Switch in Japan, and you get both the first game and the second game in a single package, which is very enticing. But all the reviews I'm reading say that it's got massive frame rate problems. It doesn't look as good as the PlayStation version of it, etc., etc. And I'm like, well, they don't even have an American release date for it yet at all. But I'm kind of going, if I can't get the game to run at 20 frames per second on the Switch, then the portability doesn't matter. No. I guess I'm probably just going to have to get this on PS4.
Yeah, I think that's more of an issue because I'm playing Fast RMX on 60 frames per second. That thing is cruising at that. So it must be the game thing. But things like
I think it's just poorly optimized game.
I think things like Sonic Mania, Sonic Forces, they will be things I will pick up. I'll be honest, it's that kind of thing like I said, sometimes the Switch tax is the only issue, like I said earlier with Puyo Puyo Tetris. Even something like Guardians of the Galaxy, the Telltale game, obviously it coming out at some point later on. If it had been day and day release and they both had the same price, what would they have gone for? Personally, probably gone for PlayStation 4 because it's something like that. But something like Sonic Mania coming out, I will buy that on Switch regardless, and I think it's digital anyway. But Jenny, it's good to know that you've joined the Switch.
It was a spontaneous thing. I was over at Best Buy and I was looking at Mario Kart, just like, oh, I remember Mario Kart. I enjoyed those, and the Best Buy employee came over, was like, oh, are you interested? I'm like, yeah, but I don't have a Switch. And was like, hey, do you want a Switch? They had like 6 or 7 of them in the back room. I guess they'd gotten a ship. Yeah. I'm making it sound like he had like the trench coat on. Hey, you want to switch? No, they were just in the back room and they were for sale, but they didn't have them on the floor. I guess they don't want the temptation of people trying to steal them or whatever.
I think this is the big thing with Nintendo is they need this kind of supply chain because they need you to do exactly what you've done. You are the prime example now of someone which, in order to get these Nintendo Switch sales up, it's all very fine having the launch and a very good, but they need the sales just to keep increasing. And you going in and being able to pick it off the shelf is what people need to do. And obviously, I think as we get closer to the holiday season, supply will start getting easier and easier. But I mean, I remember way back. This was back on PlayStation 1. I remember I missed the pre-order slot at my local. I had a Sony store in town. That was how that was. And I remember going from shop to shop asking for PlayStation 1 on day of release. It's like the first time I'd ever had enough money to go buy a console, right? Pre-ordering wasn't really a thing you did back then. This is like 25 years ago, something like that. And, and I remember going in a shop and being laughed at. And, they're like, hey, you can't get a PlayStation. Went in Sony and I had to wait like 8 weeks to get it. I remember when the Wii came out and, the fact trying to find one, I ended up using a tracker, an online web tracker, and driving over 100 miles to another city because I managed to lock one down at an Argos and going and buying a Wii because the stock checkers were just coming in. So I have gone through this before. Most days now, I would pre-order a console and just pick it up.
Yeah.
But, if they announce a PlayStation 5 tomorrow, I'll just pre-order it. But that whole thing of being able to walk in and pick one up is what they need to do. Yeah,
and I mean, that certainly wasn't a problem with the Wii U, but it was definitely a problem with the Wii. I remember being, I think it must have been a Walmart or something like that. I was there for the launch for Wii, and they had like, I don't know, 10 seats, and I walked in at 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning the day before the Wii came out, and just kind of like casually asked if they had a Wii, if they were going to have any Wiis in, and like these 10 people in line just started laughing, not like haha jovial laugh, but they were like, I've been here for like all week for this, and it's like, you guys are kind of jerks, you realize that?
I never quite understand the whole concept of that. I'd rather just put in a pre-order and just have it come in, but I think generally, and I also think there's been a lot of, in some ways, this is like the first Nintendo console really where the social media aspect has playing a part and people talking about it and talking about their experiences and how good it is, where we didn't have that with the Wii U. It didn't have that whole aspect to it.
Well, I think most people, even on social media, didn't understand that there was a difference between a Wii and a Wii U in the first place. So it was terrible branding. I mean, I understood why they did it, sort of, but yeah, it was awful. So it was very good that they decided to change the name to Switch. Honestly, I think I would have preferred if they still called it the NX. That sounds cooler, but at least the Switch, you get the idea of it.
Yeah,
you switch between TV and mobile.
Yes, it's definitely good. It's that thing now, Mario Kart. I think there was that thing. I think a lot of people, obviously, with the Breath of the Wild, it was epic and everyone was enjoying it. But there was that thing. Some people were coming to the end of the lifestyle, so Mario Kart was the next big A-list. ARMS is kind of the next major Nintendo release, but it's a new franchise. It's untested. It's not as much exciting. Splatoon is then coming in July, and I am probably going to pick up Splatoon as well because it's that kind of thing. I nearly bought a Wii U for the first one, so not being a competitive shooter, I like a little bit more friendlier version. I think the Nintendo one is a little bit more like that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, the next game I'm looking forward to is Fire Emblem Warriors, which is the Dynasty Warrior Stars Fire Emblem game. Obviously, that's not going to be it for everybody, but that's the one I've got my eye on. And then, we'll see how these multi-platform releases come out. And of course, the bloody Virtual Console. Whenever that comes out, you know what, I might complain about it for the moment. Like, you can make me buy Mario Brothers for the 20th dang time, but you know what, I'm probably gonna buy it.
Yeah,
so.
The thing is, like, I mean, I know like there'll be a load of games that I'll just want to jump back into. Obviously, Super Mario 1, 2, 3. You've also got Super Mario World. I would probably also throw in. I know if they bring out Super Mario. I don't know about Super Mario 64 because I remember buying that on the Wii and just being like, I'd much rather see Sunshine re-release and pick that one up and play that one again because I haven't played that one.
But I never played that one.
The only thing what I would love to see them do is do New Super Mario Brothers 1 or 2 because I played the heck out of New Super Mario Brothers on my wife's DS. Every time we've been on holiday in the last 5-6 years, I have been playing New Super Mario Brothers on a DS. I actually think on the last holiday I even nicked the card because she wasn't taking it. I was taking my 2DS, and it's like I just keep going back to it. But there are some certain games like that which I think. It would not surprise me if E3 they just drop the bomb, boom, they're out, and just be like, bring in them and let us rein in the money as people just go nuts buying 50, 60, 70, 80 quid's worth of virtual console just like that.
I mean, I've got Nintendo credit already saved up from the 3DS, and I'm sure that whenever, the virtual console comes out, I will be spending money on it. Personally, for me, I wouldn't mind getting some Star Fox games on there. Or a proper Star Fox game for the Switch itself. But for now, I'd be happy to accept the original or Star Fox 64, even though I played them to death.
I also think when they go into that weekly release thing of having new releases constantly, just kind of adding to the content on that game, the platform is just getting bigger and bigger. And I think obviously they announced that 2DS XLD, this new model of the D. I think once the DS is they've killed that line off and everything is focused on the Switch, you're going to see so many titles coming out. I think you're essentially going to be doubling up on the amount of Nintendo console. And like people say, well, is it just a Nintendo machine? It's like, well, I'm fine with that. It's like. You can't. Microsoft hasn't got anything exciting.
I mean, Microsoft, they really need to step their game up right now. I still love my Xbox. It's still my primary gaming console, but it's absolutely falling behind, especially in the first-party games. The PlayStation has some exceptional games.
I was this close the other day. I was pricing out the PlayStation 4 Pro, and I was pricing up, trading in my DS and my Vita. I actually was going, I wonder how much I could get from my Xbox One trading because it just does not get used because there's been nothing. I mean, obviously the Xbox games with gold. I mean, I download them and add them to my list, but I never play them because there's always something new out that I want to play instead. And that whole idea that there'll be an exclusive game out. Because this is a kind of for example, Spider-Man on PlayStation 4. That is a reason for me to want to play on the PlayStation 4. Zelda.
Yeah, absolutely.
If Crackdown 3 is on Xbox only, then that would be something that would make me probably pick that up. But there's just been nothing, and I don't feel like there's been anything for years. And Halo was it the racing game is not for me. I lost interest in that in Halo Reach or whatever it was. It doesn't excite me anymore.
I do enjoy the Halo games. I have the Master Chief's Collection. I have 5, but I think 5 was a major misstep. The story was awful, and it's a Halo game, and you're not playing as Master Chief. I don't really care. I mean, Reach is an exception, and ODST are exceptions because those are clearly marked as separate games. And I have no interest in Halo Wars because I'm terrible at RTS games. I'm absolutely awful. I'm bad at fighting games. But RTS games, I'm on a whole other level of bad. It's like, you lost in the first 5 minutes. How did you do that? Well, I sent my workers to attack the bad guys.
Yeah. I mean, I just remember when I had when you had the original Xbox and Halo came out, that was a reason to own it. And they had quite a few different exclusives at the time. The Xbox 360 was a tour de force sort of games at that point. But the Xbox One is just, and it feels like now they've just kind of gone, right, okay, we're on to Scorpio. Nintendo are cleaning up on the handheld market. That they've essentially now, I feel like they've gone, right, okay, we've got the handheld market and we can rule that, but because we can now put the stuff on the big screen, we're kind of double dabbling. And it's like you're looking at these 3DS games that come out and you're going, some of these games are nice, quick, easy little things, and it's like, like Pikmin, the new Pikmin game. Had that just been on a Switch like little title, like I think someone was saying about like you almost need like a DS price and a Switch price on the Switch. So you like maybe mid-tier games are like £30-40, and then you got the Zelda price to kind of show off the different levels and stuff. And I'm looking at Nintendo going, there's at least half a dozen exclusives that I want to play and I will willing to pay for, whereas Xbox hasn't got anything.
Yeah, I mean, they say they've got some stuff in the works. Microsoft says they have some stuff in the works, but man, they've got to have one impressive E3 if they're going to kind of rebound from this, and I don't know if the Scorpio is enough. But honestly, I mean, it is my primary platform. I've got a number of games for it. I think EA Access is a great deal, and the Xbox Game Pass that they're talking about sounds like a great deal, but they've got to be games that I care about. That on the flip side, Xbox games with gold are consistently giving us great games, and I'm sitting here looking at the PlayStation Plus and just going, come on, guys. Seriously?
Yeah, I was really annoyed because the May games, the one game that I wanted to play, I think it's a Rusa or something like that. It's like the diving swimming up. Yeah,
Abzu.
It's not in the UK. It's not in the European one. They swapped it out. That was the one game I wanted to play.
See, I already have that game. I got a review copy for CoinOp, and that game's amazing. It's only 2 to 3 hours long, but it is fantastic. I've played through it like 3 times just because it's a fun experience. So I'm really sorry that you're not getting it in the UK, because I'd be like, yes, this is a good reason. Log into your PlayStation account and download this game. So those of you listening at home, if you're a US gamer and you have PlayStation Plus, Abzu is absolutely a fantastic game. You should download that. Everything else on that list, I was like, eh.
Yeah, I do think Xbox has had an advantage because they've been able to use the 360 back catalogue as almost a crutch. It's like a crutch to keep boosting up that it always looks better in value because you're getting recognised names. You're getting Assassin's Creed and Star Wars and stuff. Whereas PlayStation free games and they're not worth it and stuff. But as I said, plenty of stuff out. There's so much stuff to play.
And in fairness, the fact that the Xbox One is going backwards compatible, that you are able to get these 360 games, is actually a fairly major selling point, because there are some 360 and PS3 era games that are absolutely worth playing that we might have missed the first time around. And at least Microsoft is not using the excuse of, well, we gave you Borderlands for the Xbox 360. That means we don't have to give you an Xbox One game this month. No, you get you get 2 Xbox One games, 2 Xbox 360 games, and they're normally high quality. So give us some first-party games. I think,
they're definitely going to have to up it up. In the coming weeks, we're going to be kind of going through and doing some E3 predictions, and whether or not we might even over the few weeks spread out a little bit and just do some generic kind of console company stuff, just to have a little bit of stuff to talk about as we're kind of in the run-up to E3.
I'm going to make one prediction right now. Neo Geo Pocket 2.
That's just called the Switch now. Have you
I know, yeah. I've seen the eShop, and I looked through it, and it's just like, wait, what? Metal Slug. Yeah. Wait. It's like half the eShop is Neo Geo. Maybe that's why I was thinking about it.
Yeah, they've definitely kind of, because I was there with Samurai. I think it's Samurai Showdown. I remember playing a demo disc of that on PlayStation 1 to death. Back when you had discs that you went and brought one because it was too expensive to go buy a game, so you used to buy a magazine every month to get the demo discs. But
demos. I remember when we had demos. I played the Puyo Puyo Tetris demo, and that was enough for me. I was like, nope, I do not need this aggravation in my life.
No, I was a bit like, I'm not going to. It's like, if that was a $15.99 title like RMX, I would have brought Puyo Tetris. I'm like, I'm not paying £35 for Tetris. I had it on my Game Boy. It's not, and I had Dr. Robotnik on my Genesis. It's like it's really weird. I don't put the association with Tetris as being that much value on it. It's odd. I think it's like time has just eroded it, and my wife's there playing it on her iPad and going, I can't. It looks epic and it's going to be a lot of fun and something you'd always play and you can always play, but it's just overpriced.
It's way overpriced, and the demo version of the game, I was just like, I got my butt kicked by the CPU on the easiest difficulty. I'm just like, nope. I don't need the heart attack at this age. So,
right on that note, guys, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, follow button, or like button, depending on which platform or audio thing you are listening on. You can also leave us a review on the iTunes store as well. You can get in touch with us over at DisKingdom.com and all different social medias. Where can they find you, James?
Find me at heroiclegacy.com and at Vagabond Peak on the Twitters.
On the Twitters. Tweets. And on that, guys, thank you very much for watching. See you guys soon. Laters.
Later.